Over the past week, Clive Palmer has inserted himself into the election campaign. The controversial Queensland businessman and Senate hopeful has struck a preference deal which could benefit the coalition in a swag of key seats. For the latest in our Captain's Pick series, reporter Catherine Diss visited the safe Liberal seat of Moore in Perth's northern suburbs to see what younger voters think.
While the political leaders may have taken a brief hiatus during the Easter break, they've restarted with a splash of new promises and a touch of controversy over a water buyback scheme. We've come to Goodenough in Perth's fast-growing northern fringe to talk to a local volleyball team about who they think are serving up the best policies. What do you want to see from politicians?
More focus on climate change, as well as continuing to take consideration about our foreign policy and where we stand in the international community.
Where do you think Australia rates on the global stage in terms of our climate change policies?
There's definitely more we could be doing around our policies to ensure that we're maybe not just meeting targets that we've agreed to, but going beyond that given what the science is saying.
Do you vote for the party or the leader?
I think it's always going to be a bit of both, but I think the leader definitely has something to do with it.
So who are you going to vote for then if no one's wowing you?
I don't know.
Will you abstain from voting?
No, definitely not. I think, it's an awesome thing that Australia does make voting compulsory, but it's, hard to sort of see someone I can clearly support.
Is there anything in particular that would sway your opinion on which way to vote?
I haven't seen a sort of clear policy on how they're going to reach these carbon emission targets that they're committing to. They seem to be committing to them, and I think Bill Shorten seems to be more committed to the climate change targets than Scott Morrison, for example, but exactly how they're going to get there, because they're pretty ambitious targets. Labor seems to have been more committed to reducing carbon emissions than Liberal policy, I suppose, from what I've seen.
Does your work influence who you vote for?
Yeah, I guess I work in an environmental industry, so things like climate change are quite important. Jobs and growth, they seem to be going hand in hand with keeping things as they are in terms of jobs, and I don't think that's very progressive compared to what's happening around the world with a shift in the jobs market.
Well, we'll have another go next time.
How do you think Scott Morrison's going? He's only been in the job for a few months.
I don't know too much about him just because he's kind of Prime Minister by default, and he seems reasonable, I suppose, compared to some of the other people we have in politics, like Pauline Hanson, Clive Palmer. And
what's your view on Clive Palmer?
Yeah, he's like the Donald Trump of Australia, so anything could happen, I suppose, when you throw that much money at it. He's got some catchy campaign ads. I don't think he's had much serious thought about his policies and things like that.
What would you say are the biggest issues for you that you'd like to see some clear policies around?
Well, obviously education's a big thing for me, being in the education system. So I'd like to see a bit more policies on moving towards the future with education, whether it's funding or being more inclusive, and as well as the environment, I think.
Do you vote for the leader or the party?
Party, definitely the party, yeah.
So for you, Scott Morrison, Bill Shorten make very little impact on your decision making as to who you vote for?
To be honest, yes. I look at the party as a whole and our House representatives, and then base my vote on them.
So we've obviously had a number of different leaders in recent years. What's your view of the changing captains at the top?
We're a democratic country, it's hard because you put that person in a position of power and they just decide to change it. It's meant to be a democracy. You've voted for that person to take charge of the party.
For sure, probably a Greens voter.
What's your view on Clive Palmer?
He's different. I don't know. I don't really have a huge opinion of him. Otherwise, other than he's a bit out there, so I wouldn't really back him.
Would you say there's a particular party you normally vote for?
I don't know why. I generally would vote Labor, but to be honest, I don't know why.